Hi, it's Mrs. Palmore, and today we're going to be looking at one-point perspective. But instead of the episode before where I showed you how to draw one-point perspective from a bird's eye view, today we're going to be looking at it from a street view. So we're going to be looking forward at it. So I'll show you the difference. The rules are the same, but it gives you quite a different perspective, and you can then adapt this technique into your own drawing. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so to start off with one-point perspective, you're going to need pencil, rubber, I've got a fine liner, you can use a pen, and a ruler. So to start off with, a simple way that I've worked out is from corner to corner. My ruler is not quite long enough, so I'm just going to have to carefully judge this. I'm going to go from corner, moving it along. Now when you rule lines, it's very important you don't put your fingers over this or you get the bumps of your fingers. So just holding them back. Doesn't matter if it's not perfectly in the corner. Make sure that the ruler's in line. Okay, we went a little bit skew off the corner there, but that's okay. Alright, so this cross in the middle is our vanishing point, and what we're going to do is a line straight across the page. So it has to be parallel to the edges of your paper on the horizontal. This is your horizon line. Now a horizon line is where the sky meets the ground. So you might see this in paintings where they draw a sunset at the end here, whatever, but we're going to continue our theme of the Maribyrnong River. So just to give you that idea, we're going to have this as the river in the middle. And we're going to draw, just bring the line in a bit. So we've got that guiding line there. Just tilt out in. And this is going to be our bike path going along here. So in the middle of that, we draw little lines here. And as we come along, they get further spaced apart and a little bit longer, because as things move towards us, they get bigger, and as they move away from us, they get smaller. Just like this pencil. As it moves towards us, it gets bigger. As it moves away, it gets smaller. So likewise here, the waves on the river, I probably should have drawn them a bit smaller. And up close, they're much bigger. They're kind of medium in the middle. I might adjust the size of that one and that one to give a bit more of the illusion of perspective, of it moving into the background. Now if we wanted to, we could do this at sunrise or sunset. So we could put a half circle here if you wanted to, or you could do trees on either side. Okay, now usually when I'm walking around the Maribyrnong, I see that there are usually quite a lot of trees or palm trees. I'm going to take that off. So along one side, I'm going to draw some lines close together here. And I'm going to use these two lines here going out to the corners as my guiding lines. So these are going to be the tree trunks. So drawing along. Now remember, you can only have your ruler vertical or horizontal or from a fixed point going back to the vanishing point. So as I'm drawing these trees, you'll notice that I'm trying to keep them as straight with the edge of the paper as I can, or on the horizontal. If you make a mistake, because the tendency is people want to start leaning them out, but that's going to make your drawing look a bit odd. So I need to check. Can you see that I've drawn this on a bit of a weird angle? I'm just going to rub that out and redraw that. So you can check, if you don't have a protractor to check a 90-degree angle, you can just move your ruler in from the edge. That's better. So we're going to move trees all the way up the edge here. Our tree trunks. Now you can decide if you're going to turn them into gum trees or palm trees you often find along there. So you can do some detailing on a tree, and then you can have the palm fronds coming down and going up. And then when you draw the ones in the background, they're going to be less detailed because you can't see them as closely, and much smaller. Okay, that's probably enough just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So bike path on one side, palm trees on the other. Then we can fill this area in here up to the horizon line green for parkland. And then on this side we can draw apartment buildings, and you can even, I was thinking it might be a cool idea to draw maybe a shipping container. So I thought because there's lots of shipping containers around Footscray. So again, with the horizontal edge of your paper, you can go from that point there out and draw the end of your shipping container. Again, keeping it in line with the edge of your paper. Draw it out and draw a rectangle shape in this point here. Again. And that would come back naturally from there to the vanishing point, but we don't need it because it's hidden. So I can rub this line out, and this becomes the door of our shipping container. Again, vertical or horizontal or travelling back. And then we can put those lines that you find, I might rub out the horizon line on the shipping container. Those lines that you find on the side of the shipping container. Yep. Then you might have some lettering you could add on here if you want. Ship. Yep, if you want to. I think I'll just leave mine graphic without any words. Okay, so I've got a shipping container there on the edge. So then maybe back here on the horizon line I could draw a crane. Can fill those details in. If you're drawing on the horizon line, you can draw more flat because you can't see past the horizon line. So we could do a bit of detailing on that later. I probably should use my ruler. Keep it all straight. Okay, and then here I'm going to draw an apartment block going up into the foreground. So we want to do the windows. Draw your vertical lines, keeping them vertical. And then these lines go from the vanishing point back to the edge of your window, and you can see here that that is on an angle. Then you go from the vanishing point to that point, and then you draw it out to that line. It's a bit wonky there. And then for this window, we go from this point back to the vanishing point. That's the imaginary line, and then I just draw it here between these two lines to get the right angle of the window. This point and here. This is the bit that takes a bit of practice, getting used to it. You can see that I haven't done this for a while, so even art teachers have to concentrate when they do this kind of technical drawing. Okay, so there's the lines, and I can rub out the guiding lines. Alright, so this is my drawing of Footscray. Now, if I wanted to, I could draw some other houses or buildings in the background here. So maybe I could draw... now, if you're drawing above the horizon line, we're still going on this angle. So if I wanted to draw a house up here, maybe behind these palm trees, again using those lines, and then you can use the horizon line as the flat. So you can add in squares here for your houses. So maybe you've got the roof at a different angle. So we've got some buildings along here. Maybe I'll put a door that high. And then just draw straight down. If it doesn't look right after you've finished, maybe these are warehouses going along here. Just remember, from the point to a vanishing point, or straight up and down. They're the only three ways you can move your ruler. Okay? So we've got warehouses along here, we've got a shipping container, we've got an apartment building, we've got the river. I wouldn't get too much into details of things, but maybe we can just detail it now. So I'm going to put a little bit of colour on this to give it a bit of context. I love my watercolours, and I find that they're a quick way of adding colour to work. But if you want to, you don't have watercolours, again, you can use coloured pencils or textures, or if you want to give it a really interesting old look, you can use coffee mixed with water. So I'm going to go over this now in fine liner just to bring those lines out, and then I'm going to use my watercolours. Just got an old jam jar and some brushes. If you don't have brushes, you can also sponge the colour on, just with a dish sponge or a bit of tissue or paper towel, or you can use an old toothbrush, or you might be able to use some grasses or things from the garden to make yourself a brush. So I'll pause now while you finish your drawing and I'll show you what mine looks like. Now I've done my fine liner over the top. You can see as I've gone down the trees, they become less detailed and the branches get smaller as they move away in the distance. So I'm just going to rub out any of the lines that I don't need. And I'm just going to rub this out a little bit, but I'm going to keep it just faintly so that I know where my sky colour and then my ground colour will start. Okay, now for the colour. Okay, I'm going to leave this to dry a little bit. I'm going to clean up my tools, put them away, and then I'm going to go back over the fine liner and just pick out a little bit of detailing in the drawing just to add to it, and any little bits of white that I've left that I need to go back over.